Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
You know why I'm sitting here right now? Because I outworked you. Zoom in. I outworked you. Patience is grossly underestimated. People say like, well, how do I get in the New York Times? Or how do I get that meeting with that CEO? And oftentimes I just say one is better than zero. It is just so obvious to me who's winning and who's losing. And it's the people that understand themselves first that are winning and are not worried about what others say and can get into that safe place. I was patient. Willing to take 10 minutes to get 195 views? I am. 89 viewers. But one of those 89 viewers may be a producer at CNN or might be the CFO of a big company that you're trying to reach. And so undervaluing just that one view, it needs to be the right view, but it's one view, is a humongous mistake. In that 12-year period, while the market and the machine told me I wasn't gonna win, I knew where my outcome was. And you may now be in your 20s and 30s and 40s, and the machine, the marketplace might be telling you that you're gonna lose, but it is about staying the course and putting in the work and positioning yourself in the right position to go out and win. It baffles me how many people think that they're bigger than they actually are. Your mentors, no one. Myself. Me.
Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary B, is one of the most influential presence on the internet regarding investing, entrepreneurship, but most likely digital marketing. He's probably the best in the entire world regarding that fact. He's a guy that has a very magnetic personality. He's a great speaker. As you already witnessed it, in case you didn't know who he is. He's a great, just energy-driven guy, probably the main symbol on entrepreneurship on the internet right now, on the past few years, someone that I actually admire a lot, and I learned a lot just listening to him. So today I'm going to review 5 things that I learned listening to Gary Vaynerchuk.
This is a word that is rarely talked about in our space that I want to start building more attention for. Self-awareness. I want to deliver on this message so much. I would create a test or a drug that allowed people to become self-aware. One potion inject, not hustle, not smart, self-awareness. I don't fear being self-aware. I know I suck at a lot of stuff. I think everybody lies to themselves. Some people are meant to be B and C players. And I'm pissed that the narrative now is that you need to be a number one and have your company because a lot of people are gonna lose or leave money on the table because that's just the narrative. I'm such a positive guy. I struggle to think about the things I'm bad at, but self-awareness requires understanding both and then choosing which path you want to go through. I'm a big fan of going all in on your strengths and don't give a fuck about what you suck at. Self-awareness isn't only just betting on your strengths, it's accepting all your shortcomings. Let me tell you one thing. What works for me does not necessarily work for you. I think being at peace with yourself and your skill set is such an important part of this. Too many people try to be like me because it's sizzly and it's sexy and people want to be charismatic and on stage. So many of you do so many things better than I do. You can look at like how people roll and like it's great to admire and things of that nature, but it's so damn important to stick to like your DNA. Try to get to a place where you understand yourself and understand what your strengths are. You've got to find your self-awareness. All your shortcomings are there for a reason. They're there to also allow you to be great. Deep in your brain, deep in your heart, you actually accept all those shortcomings is the second your life goes on the offense. I worry that people don't tap into their strengths. You have to audit who you actually are because then you're not going to bullshit yourself. You're going to storytell yourself, you're going to motivate yourself, but you're not going to bullshit yourself. And once you believe that, either for yourself or someone else told you, go directly, all chips, all into that. Look in the mirror and recognize and figure out if they have the luxury of having self-awareness.
Number 1 is self-awareness. And by that means that know yourself and you're going to be pretty much fine. That actually there's a quote on The Art of War that says that not your enemy, know yourself, and 100 battles, you're not going to be in peril. Well, pretty much that's what Gary Vee always says. Be self-aware. And the way I see it is know what you're good at, know what you're not good at, and also know what your passion is like, what you are driven, what is the thing that makes you keep going, and it's gonna help you develop a great thing, the thing that you wanna develop your life project. So being self-aware has been a very key component on my personal development.
Excuses were poison in my household, and excuses are being thrown around like they're nothing in contemporary society, and I think it's led to a lot of unhappiness. Being accountable doesn't mean that there aren't systematic problems in society. It just means, what are you actually going to do about it? Because yelling about it on Twitter or over a beer or 6 beers, I tell people, normally you'll find yourself spending your time complaining with somebody else that's losing.
Number 2 is accountability. And sometimes we are very arrogant and we don't want to admit when we made a mistake, when we commit an error, we make the wrong decision, and it's hard and requires a lot of humility in order to accept it. However, when we accept that we committed a mistake, also we are empowering ourselves in order to correct them and try not only surpass that past mistake, but also try and learn the lesson of such mistakes, because that's how we learn in life. We make mistakes, we admit that we made a mistake, and after that work towards correcting such mistakes. And sadly, something that society, especially here in Latin America, we are punished for every mistake. In school, we get bad grades, we made a mistake, and in real life, people always bashing you when you make a mistake. And sadly, that's one of the key components on entrepreneurship. That when you make mistakes, actually you take a lot of risks, usually, and no, certainly you're gonna take a lot of risks and you're gonna commit a lot of mistakes when you're an entrepreneur. And after that, you're gonna do a feedback and reverse engineer for everything that you have made, and maybe find this secret sauce, let's say this formula, in order to become successful. And of course, success is defined by you.
We have to start realizing that giving and doing things in business without expectation of return from the other individual is probably the greatest leverage that you could ever deploy in your business life, though it is extremely rare in today's business environment. And it has absolutely been the bedrock of what has allowed me to win. All my engagement, all my selfies right over there and signing books, all the content, I have nothing to sell. I have a book that I fucking sell once every 3 years for $13. This is not about monetizing an audience. It's about building leverage to build brand versus sales.
Number 3 is jab, jab, right hook. Actually, Gary Vaynerchuk has written a bunch of books. One of the bestsellers that he wrote is called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. The metaphor is on boxing because, in case you don't know anything about boxing, is that it's a very mental discipline, it's a mental sport, although it's a combat sport. And the thing is, you're not gonna just show up to an opponent on boxing and you're gonna take a right hook and you're gonna win the fight. It's a very warning, I don't remember the name in English, whatever. So it's gonna tear you down. The physical boxing match is gonna tear you down, and you have to dodge, and you have to do a lot of jabs. That is this, in case you don't know anything about boxing, is this punch that you throw just, to keep in touch with the opponent, but it's not gonna defeat the opponent with just jabs. So you have to throw a lot of jabs in order to get the opportunity to at some point take the right hook and take the knockout punch. When in life it's like that. You have to do a lot of small things, a lot of very tear down small things day by day. Let's say consistency, a lot of consistent small things that they might seem meaningless. By the end of such meaningless things, you're maybe going to get into the position to take the right hook, the big action that is going to propel the position that you are, not only as an entrepreneur, but also as a person.
You need to care about everything, and it starts with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I want to do every day for the rest of my life? Do that. I promise you can monetize that shit. If you love Alf, do an Alf blog. You collect Smurfs, Smurf it up. Whatever you need to do it.
Number 4 is how you make your money matter. Of course, everyone wants to be a millionaire, a billionaire, want to be as rich as possible. And maybe not all people, but most people, let's be honest. However, many times, how you make your money is more important than the money that you make yourself, how you make the money. For instance, you work on an office, on a job that you truly hate, and you make, I'm going to use the US wage standards, you make $100,000. In United States, that means that you, quote unquote, made it. You have a great salary. Very good for you. However, most of the time, these $100,000 salaries are, very, nerve-wracking. You're in an office, dealing with a boss, working a bunch of hours, most of the time in an industry that you don't like, and you put the other context that you maybe can make, let's say, $60,000 doing something that you love. Something, maybe the hobby that you have. You're good at golf, you like art, you like movies, you like music, you name it. To be very niche. And with your hobby, something that you have passion and you are actually good at it, and of course you have to combine it with a lot of skills, but the centerpiece will be your hobby, and you can make, let's say, half $50,000, but you can pay your rent and pay your typical expenses, doing something that you love, the hobby that you, since you're a child or since you're a teenager, you wanted to develop, the satisfaction that making ends meet of something you love, it's worth more than making 100,000 something in an industry that you despise. So I like that take.
It's always patience. The quickest way to guarantee you'll get to wherever you want to get to is by treating every single person you interact with serious love. Of trying to build a huge business and care about people more than that, but like 50, I don't even know if it's 5149, it might be 50.1, 40. The reason I do that is because I care more about a person in the world running around saying who I am as a man than the profitability of my company. Kindness is going to be the currency, and that is where we're going, and it's fucking beautiful. Is because I care about them. Thank you, and I appreciate you.
And number 5 is empathy. And here's important. I'm not talking about, I'm not Mother Teresa, I'm not a saint, anything like that. I don't believe Gary Vaynerchuk is that as well. However, how empathy can actually work for you. Because when you have empathy, for the situation of other people, and you can understand where they come from, that's going to help you build relationships. It could be business relationships, it could be personal relationships, it could be sentimental relationships, you name it. Your life overall, your standard of living is going to increase if you make good relationships with people around you. And many times when someone does a bad thing, says a bad thing, says something very, dreadful, despicable, usually it's because there is something wrong with them inside that maybe they're suffering, they're going through something, most likely a bad thing, something they have to correct about themselves, and they exteriorize it towards you. And understanding such situations is very important, not only for business or entrepreneurship overall, it's about your quality of life. And I like that take, I like that approach, something that Gary Vaynerchuk mentions all the time: empathy, empathy, and empathy. And I have empathy for that empathy. Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again and have a nice day.